There's a cage match a-brewing between, I gotta say, two of the most libtarded people that may have ever existed. And it's one of those things that you just sit there with your popcorn and you just root for injuries. Metaphorically speaking. I don't mean literally. I mean, in the war of words, you just root for injuries. It's a win-win for me, honestly. Democrats going after Democrats, both of whom are running for Senate in Texas. So it's especially interesting to me. Now, it will be interesting to you because so goes Texas, so goes the country. And very notable, high-profile person here in the blue corner. You have Jasmine Crockett, the fake ghetto hood rat herself. And then in like the other blue retarded corner, you have Texas State Representative James Talarico. Now, you may be saying to yourself, who the hell is James Talarico? Although you may not, because over the past 24 hours, there has been so much hysteria, like liberal, retarded hysteria about him, thanks to Stephen Colbert. Watch.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast. You might have heard of this thing called the equal time rule, okay? It's an old FCC rule that applies only to radio and broadcast television, not cable or streaming, that says if a show has a candidate on during an election, they have to have all that candidate's opponents on as well. There's long been an exception for this rule, an exception for news interviews and talk show interviews with politicians. Now, that's crucial. Carr said he was thinking about dropping the exception for talk shows because he said some of them were motivated by partisan purposes.
I love that he says that like, oh, it's a crazy allegation that some talk shows are motivated by partisan purposes, political purposes. We all know no late night talk shows are political. Like, okay, buddy. All right. Sure. By the way, those of you who do know who James Talarico is, that was not him. The picture that he showed was not him. I was confused too. But he actually goes on to make some dumb joke about it later on. So that was not him. I'm aware. But they did this whole big production, this whole sob story because James Talarico wasn't allowed to come on CBS. President Trump hates freedom of speech. Oh no, President Trump's going to take away our freedom of speech. It's just like Jimmy Kimmel all over again. Oh no, we're going to cry about it. Yeah, it's just that you guys are going to be shocked to hear this. Once again, they lie. They lie. That's actually not true because CBS has already said that they did not pull Stephen Colbert's James Talarico interview. They put out a statement that said The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Talarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates, including Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. It was The Late Show itself that decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing the equal time options. I don't understand this career model of throwing your network under the bus when you know that it was actually just you. Like, they have attorneys for a reason so that the attorneys can come to you and say, all right, look, here are the rules. Here are the rules. Here are how you can navigate the rules, but here are the rules. And they're like, CBS didn't let us air the interview. It's just that was a lie. It's just been actually, I think, a ploy to try and prop up this lame soy boy candidate because the Democrats know that if their candidate is Jasmine Crockett, they're they know that. Now, I would also argue they're screwed either way because James Talarico is not winning U.S. Senate in the state of Texas. That's not happening. But he is less of a train wreck and he is, I guess, less embarrassing. Now, again, the bar is very low. It's a low bar, but he is much less embarrassing than fake ghetto hood rat Jasmine Crockett. Now, he's actually raised $2.5 million after this stunt, but that's not even the craziest part. Jasmine Crockett is now getting like butthurt that she's not the center of attention. She clearly, that is something that she craves very wholeheartedly. And so she like wheeled out her early voting wig to make sure she could bring the spotlight back to her.
We did receive information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment, number one. That is my understanding, that the federal government didn't shut this down. And we will do an official statement once we get another official statement that we anticipate is going to be coming from Paramount. All right, so we will read what they say, and then we'll go from there. It is our understanding that Colbert, either Mr. Colbert or CBS, decided that they would get on the air.
Is she on the runway?
This was because of a fear that the FCC may say something to them, and that there may have been advice to just have me on, and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that, and instead we're going to just do it this way.
I think she should just accuse Stephen Colbert of being racist. Isn't that them's the rules, right? Like Stephen Colbert must be racist. He didn't want to have a black woman on to talk about her Senate race. And we are going to give a statement when we get their statement, and then we're going to give a statement back, and then they might have another statement, and then we going to have another statement about that. Ma'am, you spent a minute saying absolutely nothing. Now, it's pretty crazy to see the juxtaposition of all of this, because you got to believe things are pretty bad for Jasmine Crockett if she is like siding with Trump on an issue. And these people are so delusional. They think that either of them are going to be able to flip Texas.
So happens that I happen to be the president's favorite person. Because I want you to remind them that they had every reason to be afraid. Because you, the people, have the power. Because you, the people, are not crazy.
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. This fake preacher who, by the way, I don't know, every time he talks, I'm like, he's gay, right? But I don't think, well, you can be a preacher and be gay actually these days in the fake churches. So I don't even know. He seems gay. Can someone in the control room just verify? Is he married to a woman? I'd like to know. So you've got this like scrawny armed, he kind of reminds me of Beto, but somehow even scrawnier, because at least Beto had the height. You've got him, and then you've got this like dumb as a box of rocks, fake ghetto hood rat. I just love that they think that either of them would stand a chance. What world are they living in? I'm not sure, but I'd like to just give them a reminder that the 2024 presidential election did not go well. Oh, interesting. 56-42, a difference of 1.5 million votes. It was like the largest Republican lead since, I believe, 2012, if my memory serves me correctly. Also, the control room told me he does not have a spouse, and I think we know why. Now, I'm just saying, I don't think that the guy who basically looks like Alfredo sauce personified or this fake ghetto hood rat is going to sway all of these Texans and turn this. I just don't think this is going to do it for Texas.
Listen, I'm a gun-toting Texan, right? So I own firearms.
Can't you tell?
I'm licensed to carry, and I also care about agriculture. Way before I was running for the United States Senate, I served on the Ag Committee. I'm the girl who's actually lived in rural Texas. I'm the girl that has actually driven farm equipment.
Now do Missouri, Jasmine. Now do Missouri, please. Now, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't just remind you guys, early voting is taking place right now. Make sure you go out and vote. Do not depend on your neighbors. Do not depend on your friends. Do not depend on your family members. Every single person needs to go out and vote for Ken Paxton in the Republican primary for United States Senate.